Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of January 2023. I hope you are well and Happy New Year. Sorry about the light, the sun has made a welcome reappearance. I haven't seen it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's just lighting everything up in it. So if the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That is the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is to the 6-month overview that I've done for each of the signs. Actually did yours twice, but no, it was an audio cock-up. I could have cried, but I just drew a line under it, started again. So if you're interested in what the next 6 months hold for you, that's the second link in the description box. And the third link in the description box is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over on Circle. If you are interested in coming to check out stuff that doesn't get anywhere near YouTube, like, that'll be the place where you can find it, as well as lots of other benefits, like the really cool people that are there. So we'll stick with that and leave it there, I think. Let's see what's going on with you for this time period. Well, okay. So in your recent past, we have the Hierophant card. It's a card of Taurus in the major arcana for that current energy for Capricorn. We have two cards. We have the 9 of Cups and the 4 of Wands, and they came up in the reverse. So I'll put those there. And what's coming towards Capricorn? Thank you. 8 of Pentacles. We have work. We have the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, though. So this isn't the grind that you're used to. This is something new, which I like very much. And I mean, I need to draw attention to the fact that obviously not only are we in Capricorn season at the moment, but we're experiencing a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, and it seems to be shaping up to be quite a powerful one. Not least because it has everybody rethinking where they want to end up. What are their goals? You know, medium, long term, short term. What do they want from 2023? How are you going to achieve that, and how is what you want different from what you thought you wanted this time last year? I think this is a really, really powerful time, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's really hitting you quite hard, Capricorn. It's really funny. I was sat last night doing something for the Circle group actually, and when I was ready to put it up, I put, it's the 1st of January and I'm Capricorn Ascendant, so obviously I'm making lists, but that is exactly what I was doing. I was making lists about things. What I want to change, what I want to keep the same, what I want to expand, what I want to retract, that sort of thing, contract. Anyway, tell me about the Hierophant, please. We have the Page of Cups. I'll show you what I've got out here in a second. And we have a whole glut of cards. I'm not going to take those, that's too many. We've got... Oh, maybe as we might though, actually, because they are exceedingly relevant. We've got the 7 of Pentacles, the King of Cups, and then the 8 of Pentacles. I'm going to flip this around now so that you can see what I'm doing. Obviously the camera isn't straight. What the fuck? Okay. I'll tidy those up in a second. Tell me about the 9 of Cups and the 4 of Wands, please. We've got the Strength card. We've got the 6 of Pentacles, and we've got the Hanged Man. Appearing in reverse, interestingly enough, that's Pisces energy there. We have this 8 of Pentacles. We have King of Swords. Ooh. And we have the 3 of Cups. So, at the bottom of this deck, we have the Page of Swords. Give me a moment to rearrange these cards a little bit so that they are actually fucking visible, and then we'll get into what this is all about. Fucking out shooting again, I swear to God. Anywho. Hashtag countryside problems, right? So, hopefully you can see all of this now. My great fucking face in the way, that's what I was trying to say. Okay, so we start off with the Hierophant in your recent past. That's a card of Taurus, and it speaks to, like many of the tarot cards do, it speaks to lots of different things. in the first instance, it can talk about institutions, and that can be establishments. That can be the church or a church. It can be something that you're a part of that is hierarchical. It can be sometimes business structures that are around you. But what the Hierophant speaks to me of is the sense of where you have come from and what it is that is coming forth from you, right? We've got heritage and legacy. We also have commitment too. And excuse me, I'm just going to lounge back here. And there's a sense of you having been spending the last wee while reassessing that, essentially. What is your heritage and what is your legacy? No, I don't think we'll go there. So we have double cups and we have double pentacles. And this seems to me like somewhat of a tension starting to arise between, like I was saying before, what you thought that you wanted and what it was that you have been working towards. And then feelings that are starting to arise around those, but possibly to do with other things too. It's traditional during a Mercury retrograde. It's not traditional, actually, it's kind of essential that we stop and take stock. That's what the energy of the retrograde is, right? We're looking to make sure that we've done everything properly. When Mercury retrograde appears in Capricorn, as it is doing here, it's having you taking stock of what you're working towards. What are your daily routines? How do you get yourself to wherever it is? What are your goals? Are they the same that they were? Because I don't think that they are, especially not with the fact that it is being interleaved here by these emotional figures, the Page of Cups and the King of Cups. What started as somewhat of a little niggle that you were having, right? Which is what the Page of Cups represents to me here. A little voice inside you that's saying, I'm not sure that I'm enjoying this as much as I could be, or maybe I want to be enjoying that thing over there a little bit more, but I don't have the time to do it because of what I'm invested in over here. Is becoming bigger and bigger. It's becoming somewhat of a force that can't be ignored anymore. That's what the King of Cups is saying here. It's like, actually, you do have really strong feelings about this. And you cannot hold these two things in balance because it's already, you've been trying to do that and it's shown that it's not working quite the way that you wanted it to. So then the contemplation of the Pentacles becomes, how do I balance out all of this? It could be something quite as simple as your work-life balance, but I think that there's something a little bit bigger than that going on here, because it does feel to me like there's an overhaul getting ready to happen here. Now, it's traditionally the time of year when that would occur. Everybody goes into the new year with aspirations about how this year is going to be different from the one that they've been in. And the thing that trips most people up is that they miss out on where their routines need to change. They miss out on where efficiencies can be brought in to create more time to do X, Y, and Z. But this feels to me like it's kind of hitting you in the core values spot here, Capricorn, which means everything else kind of gets thrown into flux a little bit. Like where you were going made perfect sense for where you were before. But because this emotional stuff is now starting to work its way in between that which you are already invested in, we've got a situation whereby those end goals, the things that you were looking to achieve, don't have the possibility of holding the same amount of emotional fulfillment that you previously found in them. Right, and this could be your job, it could be your work, but it could relate to any sphere of your life. And I feel like actually it relates to all the spheres, because we've got this, somewhat imposing edifice of the Hierophant. Right, this is what is and always has been, and therefore will continue to be in the future. But it's being undermined, like by the water here. It was like water, like rushing past a rock that's just kind of eroding it over time, and at some point the rock will just fall down, and this is kind of what I'm feeling going on here for you. I'm waving my arms around and stuff. It's not a full-on frontal assault of water. It's not a tidal wave. It's not a tsunami. It is something that's been working its way, past your rock for quite a long time, and now suddenly the rock doesn't seem to be quite as stable as you thought it was, and it doesn't seem quite as important as you thought it was. The Seven of Pentacles here talks about a certain amount of dissatisfaction with where you find yourself right now, and I don't think it's because anything's changed. Quite the reverse. I think it's because everything's stayed the same, but your core values are beginning to change. There is much more of an interest in things that are emotionally satisfying, emotionally fulfilling. But there's almost like an opening of you, Capricorn, right? Where things that you might have dismissed that were emotional in nature before, you're starting to see the point of them, right? You're actually getting to a point where you would like to put more work into them, but the schedule will not allow. The plans that you have will not allow. So the question is, do you disregard that which is feeling increasingly important to you, or do you look to overhaul in light of the new core values what you want from your existence? Now, when we move into your current energy, we've got the Nine of Cups in reverse, and we've got the Four of Wands in reverse. And both of those are very good cards in the upright. The question is, why are they in the reverse for you? And I wonder if this is somewhat to do with where you realise now that your priorities have been, as opposed to where you would like them to be. The Nine of Cups is about taking full responsibility for your emotions, right? But it is also those things that make you happy. It is your ability to allow yourself to engage in that side of your life, like the emotional side of your life, or to take emotional satisfaction from things that are a little less ordered and a little more messy than how you would like things to be, generally speaking. And we've got this card here that speaks of home, right? That first and foremost, that's what it means to me. Four of Wands is home. It is joy. It is celebration. It is all that good stuff. I often say the Four of Wands for me feels like energetically, who are those people that you would contact if you had really, really good news, right? They're home for you. Equally, who would you contact if you'd had some really shitty news and you needed some comfort? Well, that would be the Four of Wands for you. And because you're so deeply private, that's not a big circle, Capricorn. Never has been a big circle. But the question is, do you want it to be bigger than it is? Do you want it to play more of a part in your life than it has done up until this point? Because this feels very imbalanced to me. And it doesn't feel like there's something new that's coming up that's knocking everything into a state of chaos. It feels more like it's a burgeoning realization in you that you have not made time for these things, and that's why they don't exist in your life. You haven't created the space for these things. It could well speak to the possibility of, for some of you, possibly, but it's only really fleetingly touched on, that there might be a breakup happening for you right now. The Four of Wands is another one of those cards of people coming together for something. When it's showing up in the reverse, it's a coming apart. But it's a foundational card because it's numbered 4. So it's the creation of a new foundation when it's in the upright. When it's in the reverse, it's a failure to create a new foundation. And the point here then would be, Capricorn, that you're not listening to your emotions as much as you could do, that would then spur you on to reconstruct your life in a way that has more of that stuff in it. It's quite interesting, these clarifiers down here. So we've got the Strength card speaking to your personal development, your growth, where you're going, and how there's quite a lot of it that is off at one extreme, right? The Six of Pentacles says something needs to be brought into balance here. And my guess is that until you start paying attention to what makes you really, really happy, or conversely, what it is that makes you really, really sad that you do not pay attention to. You don't have any hope of reconstructing, like I said, what it is that you want. Now, the Hanged Man in the reverse is a very interesting point here, because this way around, it would say, you need to hold up a second, you need to take a look around, you need to try seeing things from a different perspective, right? No movement, just try and look at things from a different perspective. But it's come up in the reverse for you, which says to me that you don't need to see things from a different perspective, because mayhap you already do. But the question is, why are these in the reverse, if that's true? Thank you. We've got the Strength card, right? There's more growth that needs to be undertaken here. I know. Fuck. Now that's very interesting, because we do have the Hermit at the bottom of the deck. And that absolutely validates what I just said, that you already have the answers. The question is, do you have the courage to do what you need to do in order to create this kind of life for yourself? The answer is yes. The Strength cards come up twice. But specifically as it regards relationships, this is either a need for you to put more effort into the relationship that you have and appreciate it for what it is, or it's to pull away from a relationship that is not giving you what you need because you're not paying attention to what it is that you need. You know, I think we can all, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a Capricorn ascendant, right? But there are certain relationships in my past that carried on for far too long simply because it didn't occur to me to do anything else, right? We don't like things to be inefficient. We don't like things to be chaotic. And so staying where we are and heading towards a goal that is right in front of us, completely oblivious to what is to the side of us, seems to be something that guarantees more success than getting distracted by what is around. And when I'm talking about relationships, please do understand that this doesn't have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, as you know, anything like that. These can be business partnerships. These can be friends, friendships. There we go. Thank you. It can also be business partnerships, right? It's talking about the way that you come together with other people, and essentially, it's talking about, you know, the kind of hierarchy of intimacy that we experience with different people. Now, you seem to me to be, Capricorn, unhappy. Not in the grip of some Great Depression, there's no Nine of Swords here, but certainly not happy, and certainly not giving any thought to happiness, your own, principally. And so this Four of Wands feels like maybe less of a breaking apart, and maybe just a monotonous, continuous thing that is draining your energy away from you. Whether it's a business partnership, a friendship, a spouse, whatever. Because I can see it going both ways with you. Like, I could see you growing through a relationship, right? And when you're putting a little bit more effort into it, this expanding to be something really beautiful, and that being the thing that you're actually after. But I can see also how it is, it could be interpreted as somewhat of an impediment to your growth. But whichever way it is, the Magician tells us that we have all the skills that we need to do whatever it is that we want to do. We've got the tools, we've got the skills, we've got all of the things that we need. We're just not putting them together quite yet, and we should be. The Hanged Man in reverse also says that we have everything that we need. And so it's about not standing still, it's about getting on with it. But this double Strength card here is a nod to the fact that whatever it is that you need to do, it is difficult, you know. I'm pulling loads of cards here. I don't want to do that, but let's do it anyway. Tell me about this Two of Cups. What do you need to know about the Two of Cups? Well, there's the Devil in reverse. The Devil is the card of Capricorn. And we have the Hermit. I think the answer is quite simply that it's different for each of you. For some of you, it's about getting into a relationship more than you currently are. And it doesn't matter if you've been living with someone for years. If you're not invested in that relationship, if you just kind of rub along together because you don't know how to do anything else, then this relationship might have actually withered on the vine some time ago. You just haven't noticed it yet. Or it might just be a little bit limp and it needs a bit of water, Capricorn. Because this here, the Strength card in the upright and the Devil card in the reverse, are both talking to aspects of courage, right? This is losing the fear about something. I feel often that the Strength card is about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So we could see here you losing the fear and going within and seeing what this actually means to you. If it's important, then it needs some work. It needs some level of investment. The other possibility, though, and this has just occurred to me, is that for some of you, there could be an aspect of losing yourself in this relationship. And the Hermit is saying you need to go and find yourself again. You need to dig deep and see how you actually feel about things, because it might not be a question of what you feel, or how strongly you feel about X, Y, and Z. It might be a question of whether you let yourself feel anything about it at all. And if you don't, then that should be telling you something really quite profound at this point, Capricorn. I like the fact that there is some going within that is necessary to do, like this pointing out to you. But then by the same token, it's like there's nothing new here that you don't already know how to do, that you're not already aware of. The question is whether you're ignoring it or not. And if you're ignoring it, why the fuck are you ignoring it, Capricorn? Because this is all part and parcel of the same thing. And the kind of changes that it seems to me that you want to bring into your life, where you are freeing up energy to be able to invest it elsewhere, or somewhere at least, somewhere other than where you currently invest it. And I say that even if you are in a relationship that you want to keep, because it seems to me that your energy is not invested in it in the way that it should be for you to get the emotional return from it that you could have. But these are all speaking of the new. The Page of Swords is thinking about things differently. The Ace of Pentacles is about, for me, it is very much about putting your attention somewhere new that it hasn't been before. And again, even if you're in a relationship, that can fucking stand, because if you just kind of fell into a relationship and then that was that, how much are you checking in with yourself to check that this is okay, you know? I feel for a lot of you that there's some stuff that kind of rumbles underneath with you, and it is the fear of having everything fall down that stops you from really investigating what that is. It's not that you don't know that it's important, because you do. And it's not that you don't have some sort of small desire to work with it, because you do. It's about the fear of the knock-on effect of everything else that you've built that stops you going to check that one thing. And it seems to me like January, at least, having had all of these thoughts about this, January is the month where you start working towards, at least, the making of a decision about how you're going to move forwards. Now, the Eight of Pentacles is about the effort that you put in. It's about achieving mastery. It can sometimes be your job, but I really don't feel like that's relevant here. It's a question of having some energy to be able to invest in something and then really, really working at it. So this could be about working at your relationships. It could be making a decision as to whether you want to work with your relationships or not. King of Swords. We've got the Death card. And we've got the Four of Swords. Now the Death card is transformation. Like full scale, whole scale transformation. It's a change of circumstances. It's likely a change of you too, Capricorn, I would think. Because the latter has happen first before, you know, anything changes outside of you. But how interesting that we should have it paired with this Four of Swords indicating peace. Because I often feel like Capricorns work so very fucking hard in one area of their life, almost to the exclusion of everything else. And although in some ways that's quite fulfilling, it doesn't leave you feeling peaceful, because everything else feels like it's very tentatively balanced. And although you would like to be able to take your eye off the ball so that you can focus on the thing that actually has your attention, when something goes there, it feels like the response that you have to that is much more dramatic than it needed to be. Now, it's interesting that the Six of Cups is at the bottom of the deck here, because that's a card of the past. And this that I'm talking about here, that reaction, it's either panic, or sometimes it's anger, or it's any one of a number of things, because it's not actually about the thing that fell down when you weren't paying attention to it. It's something that runs much, much deeper than that, something that goes back further than that. Tell me about this Three of Cups. You've got the Sun. And the Nine of Cups. Could it be, Capricorn, that you're starting to realise that people are actually quite important? You know, it might well be that in January you have a conversation with people that you know care about you. Maybe there's some sort of shared history there. And it has your consciousness actually turning to the fact that your happiness is important. And maybe it's a conversation that's something that's going on with them, but it triggers something off in you. There's a spark in you here somewhere when you're like, oh, that's it. That's it. That's the thing that I need to pay attention to. That's the thing that I want to invest in and work hard at. This is what I need to do. Because things need to change. There's no doubt about that. But they just need to change from where they are. For some of you, that will be the end of particular relationships. But for others, it's about a transformation of the almost lack of interest that you've had in it. Because not one of these people here is lifting up the cup for the other person, right? They've all got their own cup and they're all lifting it up. This is what makes it an equal partnership. This is what makes it emotionally supportive. Nobody's doing the work for the other, right? They're all doing their own thing. They're all lifting their own cup. And if one staggers, the others will catch them. Is this what you want, Capricorn? And is this not what you have? It will be different for each of you. Like I said, for some it's investment, for some it's about pulling away again. But until you've actually sat with it and consciously thought about it, as you think consciously also about the Nine of Cups and how you can turn this the right way round, nothing's going to change. And you do want it to change, because the way that you're seeing the world is starting to shift. I mean, let's not forget we've got oh, hello, cat. Oh no, got a cat. She's got a dead thing. Okay. Oh, she's off again. What was I going to say? Oh, Pluto. Pluto's moving into Aquarius. Now that is going to have a huge effect on you, Capricorn, because what was, everything that was represented by the Hierophant, in fact, you know, the rules of the game, what success it looks like to you. I mean, what you're doing to feel valid as a human being, all of that, right? It's about to have the legs kicked out from underneath it. Pluto is going to be bobbing in and out of Aquarius, back into Capricorn. I think between now and, was it something like November 2024, something like that, I think. But this feels like the first rumbles of changes that you are going to be making, where you leave behind what you thought the world was, what you thought you had to do in order to succeed, and all that sort of thing, right? The rules of the game, according to Capricorn, are about to get a bit of a flip around and be the rules of the game according to Aquarius. And my understanding of Aquarius would be that there are no fucking rules. Now that's going to be a hella chaotic place for you to be, Capricorn, unless you are allowing the emotional side of you in, the bit of you that knows what happiness is and how to chase that, rather than chasing the win that is at the end of the Capricorn road as you understand it. You know, this rumbling that I've been talking about, this has been rumbling along with you for a little while, is possibly not something that you have identified properly yet. You just know that it's there. But the question is, how much time have you sat with that to see if you can kind of work out what it is? I think not as much time as you could have done. Oh, Yen Salabim. Cat wants to come and eat her dead thing in here with her. There you go, baby. There you are, little killer. Wait for it. Okay, go. So there you go. You've just been cat bombed. Shh. You're very good. Very clever hunter. Whenever she catches something, she kicks off like this, so everybody can tell her she's a brilliant hunter. Yin, yin, yin. Oh, you're so clever. You're so clever. Well done. Well done. She's a tiny little cat. Best hunter I've ever had. Anyway. Things are going to be changing. And the change is going to be quite epic. And without the anchor points of self-work, it's going to be really discombobulating for you. And you've got a few months before this happens, before this initial change happens. That's the sound of cracking skull there. Oh, God. You've got a bit of time before it happens in the first instance, and then you've got 3 months to sample what it's like, and then it'll come back into Capricorn again. You know, it seems to me that Capricorn, the absolute best use of your skill set is to work out how to operate without the rules that you understand so innately, and bringing sunlight, bringing your consciousness to the bits of your psyche that don't really ever get a fucking look in. And that's your emotional well-being. This is where your work is, Capricorn, moving forwards, for sure. So, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to go over to Vimeo now and pull this apart a little bit. I'm particularly interested in January, see what that holds. So if you would like to join me, like I said, that is the first link in the description box. You know, you're fucking sensitive, Capricorn. And I think Capricorns struggle with that because there's not a box that you can put it in. You know, it doesn't work with the compartmentalization. But if all of the boxes are about to get torpedoed, it might be worth spending a little bit of time taking things out of boxes and examining them before you're made to. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.